Awesome. I think we're live right now. How's it going, everybody? How are you doing there, Tiffany?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. We'll wait about a minute or so to get started, have people settle in, but we already got a good amount of people already in here. If anyone that's listening, let us know if you hear us, if you have any sound issues. Also, let us know where you're coming from. We're super excited. Ooh, getting some chats coming
All
in.
right.
Sounds like the sound is good. Paris, Hugo, glad you're on. Atlanta, Toronto, Geneva, Holland, UK. Tiffany's asking, can we record this? Yes. The recording will just be sent right after we're done. Wow, so many comments coming in. Chicago, San Diego, Spain. We're global today. As we wait for a few more folks to join in, Tiffany and I, before we got started, we were just talking about what are the things that we've been doing while quarantine. Specifically, what shows we've been binge watching. Tiffany, wanna go ahead and tell us what you were just
Yeah,
about?
I will go first. So the last 2 or 3 days, my husband and I have been trying to find the oldies but the goodies. And the last 2 nights, so last night we watched The Last Samurai, and it's such a good movie. Like I just forgot Tom Cruise. I don't know where he went, but he was so good in it and such a good message. So it's been kind of getting us through the day of like, what's another good oldie but goodie movie. So I'd love to hear from you guys too. What's getting you through the quarantine?
Yeah, pop in your binge watching shows right now. Speaking on that note, my girlfriend and I have also been watching some old movies that she hasn't watched. We recently watched Good Will Hunting. Great classic movie. It's been like 15 years since I watched that, so that was really fun to watch. But actually, the most interesting thing I would say that I've been binge watching lately is Tiger King on Netflix. If anyone else has been watching Tiger King, please give a shout out. It's really interesting during very interesting times, and definitely something that easy to watch. Yeah, somebody just said Tiger King is
I
crazy.
was gonna say you're starting up the Tiger King conversation.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think we're ready to get started. So let's do this. Once again, thanks everyone for joining us. We're really excited today to just talk to you about how Front changed the way Salesloft has approached customer success. We have Tiffany Dominguez here, who is the customer success team manager at Salesloft. And then I'm Vishal, and I work on the marketing team here at Front. So here's our agenda today. We're just going to start things off with some quick intros. Then we'll go into Tiffany's story and talk about how her team currently is managing this crazy time and really optimizing her customer success team. And then, given where we're at in the world today, we thought it would be great to share some work from home tips. And then in particular, I think from Tiffany, we'll get a chance to hear how she's managing a remote team, which I think a lot of folks would be very interested in learning about. And then we'll end with a Q&A. And so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them at any time during the course of this webinar. We'll save some time at the end. If it makes sense, we'll try to answer them throughout the webinar as well. And if we run out of time, we'll be sure to actually send you a note, send you an email, and get your answers. Cool, so I'll just start off with talking about Front. If you already don't know what Front is, which some of you may not know, let me just quickly describe it. So Front replaces corporate email with an inbox that unites your team to do their best work. It transfers work email into a powerful platform where you could bring all of your communication channels together. So if you're managing distribution lists, social, whatever it may be, you can manage that alongside your individual inbox. There's also collaboration features that make it easy to coordinate both internally and then be able to make sure that you're all in sync when you're responding to customers. We're founded in 2013. Over 5,500 businesses use Front, and a lot of them are customer success teams. So yeah, that's just Front in a nutshell. Tiffany, want to tell us about Salesloft?
Yeah, so Salesloft, I don't know if you guys are all familiar with Salesloft and what we do, but we are a sales engagement platform. So we help sales teams transform the way that they sell. How I like to describe it is it allows you to get more of that creative, personalized touch, all while kind of exceeding your goals and getting in contact and communication with those customers quicker through your kind of personalized touches along the way. So also just keeps you organized. And I used to be a sales rep for many, many years, and I can't imagine not having Salesloft in my life. So check it out if you guys aren't already using it.
Awesome. Now let's get started with Tiffany's story. So we'll dive into some of more specifics later on in the presentation. But just to kick things off, Tiffany, can you just tell us more about your role at Salesloft, your team, how it's structured, some of the goals and KPIs you measure yourself with? Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. So I am one of the managers in the customer success department in Salesloft. So the team that I manage, we have 9 customer success managers connected to it. And we are actually a combined team. We manage over 1,900 customers. So we share Front, and you'll hear very shortly kind of how it's used within that team sharing that we do. And we manage, and we're responsible of that adoption, retention, just as many other customer success managers, as well as kind of expanding on that scaled book of business and what that looks like for the team.
Cool. And so can you tell me about what life was like before Front? What were you using? What drove you to make the switch? And then lastly, how things have changed, maybe one or two things in particular that has changed in your process from pre-Front and post-Front.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first joined the team, we were building it out, and we decided to try out Zendesk, mainly because our support team uses it, and it works so well for them with the experience that they have. We realized using Zendesk, it has some great capabilities, but it really lacked the customer experience that we were really striving and aiming. We have a bar that's very high to achieve with our customer experience, and it lacked that kind of empathetic experience we're looking for. So really, I can kind of dive into the differences that we've experienced through Front, and using from Zendesk to Front is really just that collaboration tool that it really engages with 9 customer success managers. We have to really be in communication at all times, and we're able to find those solutions just so quickly with the collaboration that we can use with Front.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely want to dig a little deeper, but we have the opportunity to do that now with these upcoming slides. So let's go right into it. Let's talk about shared inboxes in particular. So for those of you that don't know what a shared inbox is, a shared inbox allows you to track, optimize, and organize all of your customer communications at a team. As you can see in this example, you could manage your distribution list, your social channels, and even your SMS channels as well. And you could do this all right next to your individual inbox, right? And so you have the ability to triage messages in and out from your individual inbox, your shared inboxes, and then collaborate with teammates on those shared channels. So Tiffany, tell us more about how Salesloft in particular and your team uses shared inboxes.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, we are a team of 9 customer success managers, and we share an email that is success@salesloft.com. So the way we kind of use that shared inbox is we've created it and set it up in Front, and we have a round robin process. So kind of some of the benefits that you can see with that shared inbox and the Front feel that we have is, again, and I'll probably say this word more than once today, but the collaboration. I always say that we need to work as one person. And my team, if they've joined, they're going to laugh at me, but we talk to ourselves as like we are an octopus. So we're one mind with 8 different legs, although we're 9 legs, I guess, because there's 9 of us. But really, we have to work in that kind of one mindset, and Front allows that. Allows us to kind of really quickly look at other people's conversations, find solutions for those customers, and like I said before, just make sure that customer experience is high and that we're achieving kind of solutions quickly for them.
Awesome. And so what are we looking here? These are some of your shared conversations.
Yeah, I love the screenshot because it kind of shows us just a quick snapshot of what you could experience in shared inbox if you guys are already seeing this now if you use Front. But this is really quickly, even as a manager, when you look at this, I can really quickly look at see where how it looks, who's even, if somebody's kind of having more conversations than others, and be able to quickly talk to them about that and make sure that, we can switch conversations around, make sure those customers are getting those touch points that are needed. So this is just a good visual of what you can see, as well as team members. So a manager can look at that, but also all team members are going to be seeing this visualization and being able to kind of hop into Suzanne's, for example, and see what conversations maybe they've worked with a customer, and they can say, I'm going to grab this one from you because I have another conversation. Just really easy, front visibility. See that? I didn't even mean to do that, but yeah, we love it.
Nice. And so everyone has access to the Success at Salesloft shared inbox on your team, and so that's basically how everyone has that visibility that you're mentioning, where you can understand the workload between different teammates, as well as if emails have even been responded to or not, and if somebody may need to like switch the workload or whatever it may be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right, rules. So this is probably my favorite feature of Front because it really allows you to automate all those simple tasks. You can sort new messages, route them to the right person, as Tiffany earlier mentioned, and respond faster. Like I said, you could automate these repetitive tasks to increase the time and efficiency. Rules are cool because they're flexible, and you could use rules in a lot of different ways. And I would say each of our customers has a unique sort of way of using rules, but in general, they're all solving kind of the same issue of making sure that you're either automating things that are repetitive or making sure that messages can definitely get routed to the right person depending on specific details about who's emailing. Tiffany, you want to take it away here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to give 3 great examples of how we use rules within our team. So the first one, you kind of see it here, the round robin messages. So this has really been key for us. So we have set up an East Coast to West Coast and now EMEA hours based rules, and we can utilize that. So for example, like during the time frame of, and I'm looking at 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. is kind of our East Coast. And that's where most of those conversations are going to come into the team members are East Coast. And we've set up a rule designed around that. And then after 2 p.m., any West Coasters on my team are going to be getting those conversations until 8 p.m. Eastern. And then we actually have an EMEA team member that will be getting conversations during a different time. So that has been a huge benefit for using rules for us to be able to set that up efficiently. The other rule that we use is, and one of my favorites, is this extra love tag. So the history behind this extra love tag is we have Red accounts, as you guys are all familiar with Red accounts. We want to make sure to give them the time and attention, but we realize that afterwards we need to have more open kind of visual collaboration of maybe the reason why they got on the Red accounts, and once they've gotten off, giving that extra love. So we've designed a rule around using the domains of customers that have gotten off the Red accounts to automatically add an extra love tag. And then we actually use the notes in the person's fields inside Front, so that if, let's say, Suzanne ran that Red accounts and then Sherelle is actually getting that customer and sees that extra love tag, she can quickly look at any notes of, hey, they had some email deliverability stuff going on. Make sure you're addressing that completely. Make sure that that is completely solved. Another one is our the kind of customer I guess I went up that. So around upgrades and downgrades. So if we get any, we use it within the conversation pieces inside front. So a rule is designed around if they hear or see any upgrades or downgrades in that conversation, it automatically adds that tag. So our team knows that's a part of the renewals. It's an upgrade or a downgrade, and we can kind of action off of that as well. So those are some of the great rules that we have right now.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I love that extra love tag.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, and like I think that's such a like great way where you could scale personalization. Like you're able to efficiently be personalized with 1,900 customers, you know, and so that's a super cool way. In these examples, you'll see on the left, you could archive based on a specific rule. If you have an email campaign going out and you know, you're going to get a lot of auto replies or whatever it may be, you could archive those. You could tag rules as urgent. So a lot of customers use this when, for example, when time sensitive emails come in and they haven't been responded to, for example, in 15 minutes. You could create a rule that tags it with urgent, and you can move it to a specific inbox so that somebody can always keep an eye on that inbox. And if something pops in there, if they see that tag that says urgent, they know that they need to respond right away. And so rules can be very cool. Yeah. Cool. Tags. And so we touch on this a little bit. We'll go a little deeper right now. But rules and tags are like almost peanut butter and jelly in some ways. Tiffany already mentioned those few tags, urgent. You use tags as basically labels, and you can use it for yourself and for your team. So you could actually have shared tags that multiple people can have access to. So it works great for a specific team. And as we kind of touched on already, you could track critical topics. You could report on key trends, and then you can use them to just sort messages. And we'll go into analytics later on, but this is also another really great feature of tags. Outside of just using them for rules, you could later on then run a report on how many times you've used the urgent tag. So it's really powerful way to understand, you know, your customer interactions. Yeah, Tiffany, you already talked a bit about tags, but tell us about some of these other tags that you're using.
Yeah, absolutely, tags are crucial, and rules and tags, like you said, are like peanut butter and jelly. But a couple of different ways that we use kind of the tags is one of my favorite ones that we do before we kind of get into. I also have a great example of how we take reporting based off of tags and what we do with that sometimes, because I have a great example from the last 3 weeks. Before that, we have a customer wins and shout outs tag. And I think this is so important because in customer success, it's sometimes those small wins that really impact that customer. So we use that tag that we have created, that the team, if they have just a quick like, hey, great job, love this video that you sent me, thank you. It's a customer wins and shout outs. And we use that for our team meetings. And I use it as literally shout outs to the team and how great they're doing. But in all, the way we use tags on our team and help kind of organize the team together is we have 3 different tags. So we actually tag it based off of their ARR. And then we do the type of conversation it is and topic. So a good example, and I think I have an image next page. Yeah, so this is kind of a great example of, we tag it as a how-to, and this is email settings. So we know when we get this conversation, we've tagged it, and for kind of the individual team member that gets this conversation, they know where to start and they know how to quickly find those solutions. For me, I can take this, and for a great example that I just did, I just pulled a report for the last 3 weeks that we had seen the top 3 tags. And from that report, I'm actually going to use it to work with our enablement team to drive better resources and trainings around those specific 3 topics. And also to use that to kind of beef up the resources I need to give the team to find those solutions a lot quicker with those top 3 tags that we're getting. Because it's your customers are talking, you're using these tags to identify what they're saying, and then we can find solutions and get on top of that and be proactive and see that scaled approach right then and there. So obviously you can tell we love the tags.
That's awesome. I think that's such a great way of using the tags, using the data from the tag, and then actually like taking action on that. Like you mentioned, like the top 3 tags, and then how, if it's on a specific topic, maybe the team is not as well versed in that topic. So wow, that's really cool. Great. Now let's talk about inbox analytics. So again, we've touched on this a bit. We mentioned about with tags, but there's so much you can do with inbox analytics. This is probably the most powerful feature of Front. I think Front is like one of, I think, the more difficult products to really describe. But we've been, prior to the recent events, we've been going to a lot of like trade shows, and I think this is really when I've noticed people have the aha moment when they see how our analytics works. And with analytics, you could track and optimize key metrics like email activity and response time. You could use it to proactively manage like your East Coast and your West Coast teams, as Tiffany does, and you could adjust workloads. And then every team has different metrics that they're tracking. And so in analytics, you could export all of your data, build custom reports, and then use those as a baseline for your team's goals. Let's go into how your team uses inbox analytics.
Yeah, so a couple of things that I want to kind of touch base on is on a weekly occasion, I pull this and you would see kind of the keeping track of the total conversations. The busiest time of day is a goal for us, just to really, again, like we said, change around those hours according to those busiest days and times that we're tracking. And as well as the productivity tab. I will tell you a funny story is a while back, I look at this weekly as a report as a manager, and I hadn't really been sharing it with the team all that much. I just kind of keep track of it. And I thought one day I should bring it to the team meeting. And I brought it and I showed them the kind of total conversations, for per week and all the things that I can bring to the analytics here. And here. And the team loved it. They love seeing it. They love seeing the total conversations. It made them kind of have that like, oh, phew, I was feeling really busy that day. This makes sense for them to visually see it. So I use it now as a weekly team meetings, and my team gets pretty upset with me if I don't pull them every week and show them. But I just think the kind of productivity tab as well, we're able to, again, have those wins and shout outs of like seeing who's doing it the best. A goal for us is that our first response time, we try to keep it around 3 hours. And the reason for that is with the expectations is that the customer, I want them to know that the expectations, they may not hear in 30 minutes, but they will be hearing by that 3 hour mark, and just maintaining that the more customers we get, that we can keep those good expectations across the line. So being able to see that, resolving on the first reply is also a goal for us. We try to keep that around 50%. So we know half of these that are coming in, we're taking that kind of 3 hours of time to try to find that solution on the first email thread. So these are just things that I pull weekly and love this about Front and use it all the time.
Yeah, that's super cool. It's interesting. Some teams, depending on the industry, they're striving for getting that response time as quickly as possible, and then some teams, they just want it under a day. And I think that 3 hours makes a lot of sense, because you don't want there's so many things going on, and you don't want to necessarily feel like you can go back and forth just right away and drop everything that you're doing. So that's super cool. Just to highlight some of the other metrics on the screen that you shared with us, the number of replies it takes to get resolved. I think you mentioned that.
Yep.
Resolution time. It's great that you could see both the response and the resolution time. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And just a quick thing, like kind of utilizing, see how I look at tags versus this report. So the resolution time, and then we also see the type of tags when I pull those reports on the last 3 weeks and what are the top tags. I also look at what is the response or resolution time on those tags. So for a great example was like problem resolution non-technical. I know it sounds interesting, but a lot of them are, it's a problem, there's an issue, it's not actually broken, but we want to help figure out that solution together. Those, what I've seen right now is those resolution times are higher compared to some other like how-to email settings. So just making sure to track that, and then make sure that we have those resources in place for the team to always be doing the best that they can.
That's awesome. Yeah. Different tags are going to give you different data, and sometimes that's fine if some of the data is a little bit takes a little bit longer, because that's just the nature of that specific request or issue that's happening. So it's cool that you have that clear insight into those specific questions. This is the slide that you're mentioning that you use at your team meetings. When I saw this, I was like blown away, because it's so cool that you're bringing things from front into the slide, into your team meetings. Is there anything specific that you wanted to like highlight in this?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of by far what my team expects of me every single week now, which I love it. They're waiting to see how many conversations they've had. This also helps me with the team to have those kind of open discussions with what's trending, what's not. 529 conversations for the week is higher for our team, especially with each one of us. We take a day out of front to do more proactive kind of projects that we work around. So just analyzing that together as a team to come up with solutions. Does that mean we need another person in place? Does that mean we need more resources? Do we need another technical architect? Stuff like that. It's just amazing to be able to drive that discussion around all of these that I can pull every week from front.
Yeah, I think as like a team leader, it's nice that you know how to balance the workload and also just understand where your resource constraint. So that's super cool. I wanted to quickly cover integrations because I know your team definitely does use integrations. These are all the integrations that we connect with. We connect with about 50 or so integrations right now, and it's growing. But your team loves the Salesforce integration, right?
Yes, absolutely. It is basically the Salesforce integration is by far the most important feature in front. The reason is it creates a cross-team functionality for us, because if you see these visuals here, the team can get a conversation in. We can quickly see who the sales owner is and or the renewals manager, and we're able to get that customer. It may not be a question that we can ask because it's the renewals, and the renewals manager might need to answer that question. We can loop in the renewals managers really quickly based off of the Salesforce information. We also use it to create cases. So we have technical architects, like I kind of mentioned before. Sometimes we do have technical issues that are obviously not broken, but we need to find a solution. We have technical architects that we can create cases from front, and being able to fill that out and submit it right exactly from front. We don't have to be jumping back and forth through Salesforce to front. And although it doesn't sound like a big piece, it's time saving by far that we don't have to do that. Our other thing we just saw was your Guru integration that you did. So we're trialing that out because we use Guru a lot, and it's just kind of our talk tracks around many things. So being able to open that up right from front again is just so time saving for our team. So we love it.
Yeah, Guru, it's a knowledge solution center. It's nice that you don't have to kind of jump around from tabs. And I love the Salesforce one as well, just because you could see the information of that specific prospect, of the email that you're actually looking at all side by side.
Yeah.
Cool. This is just a few of the customers that we work with. You can see Salesloft right there in the center. A lot of these are customer success teams that are using Front. And that wraps us up with the core part of the presentation. This wasn't planned when we decided to do this webinar, but we thought it was very timely to talk about this. So I'd love to learn, Tiffany, about some of your favorite work from home tips, things that you do to stay productive. And as we mentioned earlier, specifically from your perspective, like how are you managing this 9-person customer success team all remotely?
Yeah, I'll speak to it from like a personal note. So I'm a mom of a 3 and a 6-year-old. So time management has been a little tough, but figuring it out is just, over communication is the key to, and also just transparency. I think my team, first of all, I will give major shout outs to my team. They're amazing. We have had to kind of, in order to survive, as I call it, we've had to be very collaborative and open communication. So we already had that in place, which was so great. So it's made it somewhat seamless to go to completely remote. I have set up a couple of extra times, just 30-minute windows for us to connect, via Zoom and just speak together, talk about how we're feeling, and just kind of take work off the table and just connect in those different ways. And I would say, like, coming from as a manager and then also having 2 little kiddos at home, blockers on your calendar is key. So I literally have blockers for my kindergartner of like kindergarten time, so that when people are looking at that to schedule time, they just see absolutely every single day what's on there, so they know which free time to be booking for me. So those are kind of the things I've learned so far. They will keep on coming as we go along with this, I guess.
Yeah, that's super cool. I personally have found that having a routine, just like I'm someone that needs that in order to like really get through the day. Our CEO yesterday was mentioning that after 6:30 she doesn't look at her computer anymore, and so I think those little things of trying to just reenact what it's already like being at the office definitely helps things keep going and not feel too weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's we're at the half hour. Let's see how we have quite a few questions, so we'll save about 5 to 7 or so minutes for these questions, and then whatever we don't answer, we'll get to you after via email. So Anna Scott on your team commented in here. Just wanted to say that. We have a question from Daniel Kim, who asked, so would you prioritize based on how many shared conversations per team member? So I'm thinking Daniel is wondering if you're prioritizing like workload or the way that you shift the workload based on the number of conversations.
Yeah, I would say, we don't, if the answer that they were asking is if the topics and kind of the tags that we use, do we prioritize? We don't, but we do prioritize oldest to new. So right now it's just always set up as whatever is your oldest, you're going to be working through. And then with that said, the other thing that we prioritize is like I said, we scale a lot of our kind of 1900 customers. So we have office hours, twice daily office hours. We have different strategy hours that we're going to be doing. So we also prioritize based off of who can be going to office hours. We want to get to them because there's certain time frames, and then when and where those strategy hours are. So we might be prioritizing who we're going to be reaching out to first based off of the different programs and office hours that we provide. But other than that, I really think it's best to, right now with the conversations, they just get through the oldest. So we know that we're still maintaining that 3-hour threshold that I was talking about.
Cool. I was just going through the comments. Anna Scott has done a phenomenal job of answering so many of these questions. So shout out to Anna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. You're amazing.
Hugo wants to know, how do you collaborate with a support team if they are on Zendesk and you're on front?
Yeah, so we have a couple of different ways that inside, front, and outside. So we usually, when we're looped in, let's say it comes to us and it is a technical break that we need to get it over to, we simply just use front. We reply all, get it to the support at email. We also have incorporated Slack as a group Slack. So we have a success and support Slack. So a lot of times we have noticed that when they go over to support and they get their kind of technical fix, the break fixed, but they have other questions that are going to come back over to our team, they can quickly kind of Slack us, let us know it's going to come back over. Because we have created some rules that will automatically archive after we send it over to support just to get it out of the inbox. So just little tips and tricks there of like being able to collaborate to support and back to success. So.
Cool. Are you pushing the data from front somewhere else? Sounds like the data and the tags are in front. You're not necessarily pushing them anywhere, are you?
No, I create Excel spreadsheets or like sheets or whatever the Google is, but I don't push it anywhere else. If they're talking about like Salesforce or anything, there's not a way to push it to Salesforce. There's the integration that can carry over, but there's not the back and forth. So I keep it inside front within the reports, and then any other sheets and stuff when I'm tracking trends and stuff.
Yeah. Donna has a question. Do you find that a lot of emails coming to this team should actually have been support tickets? Wondering how you make sure your customers know where to go to for what?
That's a great question, Donna. It is something I would say in the past that we've had a lot of conversations coming to us when they did need to be looped into support. I would say in the last 6 months, Salesloft has done a great job of creating more of that, pushing them with, when we do get that, providing them with the resources of where to go. And this goes cross-functionally, team functionally. The sales team now starts speaking like support is for this, success is for this, and that has helped tremendously with lowering those conversations down that should be going to support first. I would say for the most part, they usually go to support first. They know that support at email address, and then they come over to us because it's more of a success question.
I think this will be our last question. It's a really great one from Daniel. What were some of the other challenges the Salesloft CS team experienced on Zendesk before switching to Front?
Yeah, I also would say the experience was more of the ticket feel. So even just the little things like ticket number, in the subject line, ticket number when it started with a reply just gave us a kind of colder ticket type feel, and that's really not what we wanted. I think a lot of people see a group inbox success at, and they think it's going to go to this nowhere land, and when you created that ticket feel, it felt even more so. And we wanted them to see that like this is an actual person. This is 9 customer success managers that are connected to that email address, and that is why Front made it a lot more just empathetic and just user like human touch, I guess, to it than the ticket feel.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's it. If we didn't answer your question, please feel free to email either one of us, and we'll definitely shoot you a note. But outside of that, thank you all so much for joining today. We really loved presenting today. We had so much fun. Personally, Tiffany, thank you so much for working with me.
Yeah, this was so much fun.
And sharing all these valuable tips and insights. The recording will be available shortly after. You'll get an email. I see a few more questions. We'll be sure to reply back and answer them, and hope you all have a really great day. Thanks again.
Yeah, have a good day, guys.